What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another E36 M3 video. So what we got on the agenda today is we're going to be doing Euro style headlights, and all that entails is tinting out with yellow film part of the headlight. In my case, I'm going to be tinting the high beam lights. I did this on my last E36 M3, and I think those headlights look way better than all the other ones out. I think they look better than the plain headlights. I think they look better than headlights with halos, which my car came with when I picked it up. I'm not a huge fan of the halos personally. I think they look good on the newer BMWs, but I think they're a little out of place on the E36s. So we're gonna be scrapping those, and after doing the Euro style headlights, I think the front end will look a lot better. So I'm gonna walk you through how to take your headlights out, how to disassemble your headlights. Unfortunately, if you do have plastic headlights, you can't really do this mod because you can't really take those apart the same way you can the glass headlights. So if you want to do this mod, get glass headlights first and then come back, watch this video, and you'll know how to do the mod. But with that, let's get into taking these headlights out. Here we go. All right, so now that I have one of these corner lights out, I want to walk you through the process of actually how to remove it from the car, because it's kind of difficult while it's on the car. So the only thing holding this to the car, if you look, is this little tab right here, and all that does is kind of lock it to the headlight assembly on the side. And so all you want to do is get a little screwdriver or like a long pick or something and go from the top where there's a little gap right here and just pry this carefully, because these do snap, but pry this way to be able to pop it and release it from the car. And then obviously once it's out of the car, you can disconnect your bulb and then just hang it off to the side. But once this is out, you'll have access to one of the screws that hold the headlight assembly onto the car. I'm gonna repeat the process on the other side, and then we're gonna get this cover piece off up here, because there is a bolt also right here on the back of the headlight at the bottom that holds this in as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side, pop this little nose panel piece off, engine cover piece off, and then we will start taking the headlights out themselves. So here we go. All right, so we have the engine cover off and both corner lights out. And so, like I was saying, there's a bolt right there. And then if you go on top in this little gap, this is why we had to take the engine cover off. If you look down there, there it is. And then a bolt right here, a bolt right here. And if you had the OEM plastic lights, there would also be a little bracket right here and then a bolt holding it in right here. But I'm gonna go ahead and take the 4 bolts out from this headlight and from that headlight, and then we'll get these out, disconnect everything from the back, and then I'll show you how to disassemble them so we can remove these halos and start doing the Euro headlight little conversion. Alright, so there's been quite the development between last clip and this clip. It's probably been about a month, and it's because something came up while I was doing this project a month ago and I was not able to finish it up. But I think I figured it out. I think I have the answer, and I want to kind of walk you guys through it. But first and foremost, if you're unfamiliar with E36 headlight architecture, I guess you could say, the glass headlights that you could buy for these cars, you're able to take these front faces off, these front lenses off, without having to bake them like you do the plastic headlights. And the whole point for doing that, why this is convenient, is because it gives you access to this part of the lens, which typically has these lenses. And what had happened was I had taken the headlight apart a month ago and realized that these halo lights that were purchased for my car before I got it did not come with these lenses. And so unfortunately I was not able to do the Euro style headlight conversion. But it was brought to my attention a couple weeks ago by a coworker of mine who also happens to have an E36 that the OEM plastic headlights also have the glass lenses inside of them, but you either have to bake them to get the front face off, the front lens off, or take them apart, basically, like rip them apart. And so he was gracious enough to give me those for free. I ripped them apart and I took these lenses out of them. And before actually making this clip, I spent a few hours yesterday trying to figure out if my idea was even gonna work with these headlights and those lenses. And what I ended up with is right here. As you can see, this is exactly what I was going for. This is the Euro style headlight setup, I guess you could say. All I did was tinted out the high beam lens and then put it all back together. Unlike the glass headlights that aren't the halos and come with these lenses, these took a little bit of work to get them to fit inside of these headlights after taking the halos out. So I kind of wanted to walk you guys through what I figured out, how I was able to get them, I guess, installed is the right word, and you know, just show you what I did to be able to make them work in case you end up in this very exact and very specific predicament. Otherwise, if you have the glass headlights that don't have the halos but do have the lenses in them already, then you could just kind of skip all this, you know, other stuff and just get into taking the front face off and tinting the headlight or the high beam lens rather. So I'm gonna show you guys what I kind of figured out and what you got to do to get them to work, and then we'll get it all thrown back together and put in the car. Here we go. All right, so here we are at the headlight, and there's a couple things I want to note before we actually start doing the work here. First and foremost, I can't speak for every other brand, but for these headlights with the halos, these simply snap into these housings. They're not glued in, they're not taped in. All you have to do is get access to this piece from the back and just pry up these little tabs right here, and then these will come off. Second, you will have to modify this. Unfortunately, these glass lenses, despite being similar shapes, do not perfectly fit in there. They do fit almost perfect, but if you look, there's like a little lip right here on the glass, and which means you have to kind of cut out these little like support bars in here. But this whole piece is just plastic. It's really easy to cut. Don't be afraid to mess it up because, you know, this is just dinky little plastic. It's not difficult or anything. And I don't know about replacing them, but you know, it's not hard to modify this if you need to modify this. But to be able to mount these lenses into here, all I did was make whatever cuts I needed to make to be able to fit this in. And then when it is in there, all you're gonna wanna do, I used a clear epoxy and just kind of glued it on the side of the glass and to the housing itself. And then when it dries, obviously you just kind of flip this over and stick it back into this front housing here. Screw it down with the screws that I took out to hold it in there, and then it should be pretty much permanent from there. I do want to note though, be careful if you are doing this in like this exact situation as me with plastic headlight lenses with your glass halo light assemblies. This lens and this lens are two different part numbers. They do have a different like pattern here, and so just be careful. There is an inside and an outside. Obviously I did mark mine before I you know, mixed them all up when I took them out of the plastic headlights. But I'm gonna go ahead and modify this the way I need to modify this to be able to fit these lenses, and then we're gonna go ahead and toss it all back together and put it in the car, and I'll show you guys the final result. All right, so we're all done with both of them. That one's drying over there, that's why it has tape on it, but this one is all done. As you can see, it's officially glued into this housing. So now what I'm able to do is put this into this. I could screw it back in over here, and then I should be able to toss that back onto this and then put it back into the car. So I'm gonna go over that one more time with a little bit of glue on the spots where the tape is, and then we're gonna get this all put back together and wrap this job up. So I want to take a second and shamelessly ask that if you're enjoying this content, if you can consider subscribing, liking, and commenting on this video. It lets not only me know, but it lets YouTube know that people enjoy this type of content, and it makes videos like this possible. So it's free, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Let's get back to the video. All right, I think that about does it. Hopefully it wasn't too confusing, the explanation for how to make the plastic headlight lenses work with the glass halo headlights that didn't come with lenses. I know it was kind of confusing, and I know it definitely wasn't the most legit way to do it. I know it would have just been easier to buy the proper headlights, but I wanted to kind of save those funds if I could for something else rather than kind of buy the headlights, because they're not a necessity, they're a want. And so anyways, they came out really good. You guys just saw they look awesome. I think unless you were up close and really like picking through the details, you wouldn't even know that I glued those lenses in there, but I think it looks really good. I think they look a lot better than the halos, and I'm stoked with the way the car's coming out. So if you made it to the end, I appreciate you checking it out. Please subscribe if you liked any of what you saw, or if you are a fan of E36 content. I really, really, really appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.